Mr. Scott, good morning and welcome to the hearing. Appreciate you taking time to visit with me in the office. Mr. Scott, when we met, we had a lengthy discussion on inspection technology and other technology improvements that could benefit CBP's ability to interdict drugs. Yes or no, are the vast majority of drug seizures, including fentanyl, made at legal ports of entry?
Currently, hard narcotics are primarily seized at ports of entry.
90% or so
The actual
of the drugs
seizures, not the total flow, but the known seizures. I
are
believe
made at
that's
ports
accurate.
of entry?
Correct.
And is it true that an overwhelming number of those are actually made in passenger vehicles being driven by American citizens?
I believe that's correct.
Yes or no, is CBP's inability to screen incoming, and I would contend outgoing cargo, put CBP officers and American communities at risk?
Screening the volume of traffic coming across the border to include the seaports, the rail, it is challenging. And then that is exactly why we're trying to make more investments in the NII, the non-intrusive inspection equipment, as well as the AI behind it, basically using technology to make those officers more and more effective. Because at the end of the day, I think it's really important to highlight a lot of that technology, it just detects anomalies. It takes an actual officer or an agent to determine if there's actually something illegal there or not. So making sure that we use human beings, you use those officers and agents in the most effective manner possible is critical. And I think investments in the technology aspect of it is going to make them more effective. It's going to make America safer.
Appreciate that. Yes or no, do you believe inspection technology can help CBP officers do their jobs more safely and effectively?
Yes, sir.
And yes or no, do you believe implementing a strategy to achieve 100% screening, even if it requires rebuilding port infrastructure or leads to increased wait times, would make our country more secure?
I can't answer that yes or no. In theory, yes, it would, but there's always trade-offs about the amount of money invested and the amount of time and the risk. So in the short term, CBP, I believe, does have a strategy to significantly enhance the number of vehicles that are actually being screened with NII. In a perfect world, we would love to get to 100%, but there's going to have to be a lot of conversations with Congress on how to fund that, because it will, as you know, we talked about, it will require revamping the actual footprint of ports of entry where they're right on the border and we just don't have the ability to inspect before they get to the primary inspection location.
I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, this is one of those areas where I hope that we don't just talk about this, but this is something that we could probably do. It changes the way that we need to approach this, but if we truly want to know what's entering the United States, there's no reason that we could not advance at 100% screening and things of that nature. I know I've chatted with several of my colleagues about this in the past, and my constituents, they don't understand why we're not deploying more technology to work with the agents to be able to figure this one out. And so I appreciate that response. Now, do you believe that CBP should partner with our national laboratories to develop and deploy the next generation of these tools that can identify the molecular or chemical makeup of fentanyl and other narcotics?
Thank you for that question. As I mentioned in my opening, border security is a team sport. So yes, the labs, private industry, the Department of Defense, anybody that's actually looking at these, I think can be a partner to help us get more and more effective and utilize our personnel more effectively.
And Mr. Chairman, this is one of the areas where I've suggested for years that the Science and Tech Directorate in the DHS space, the Department of Energy is working with many agencies with work that they do all around the world. There's no reason that more of that could not be commercialized or used in a space where there's a domestic approach to it as well. And it would actually, I think, create some savings in the United States and allow us to have more advanced technology that could be deployed. Now, Mr. Scott, 2021, the Borderplex region was the manufacturing hub with the 5th highest employment in North America, accounting for 17% of all trade with Mexico. The Santa Teresa port of entry in New Mexico ranked number 6 in imports and number 7 in exports among land ports for merchandise trade along the United States-Mexico border in 22. For livestock trade, Santa Teresa continues to represent the largest port along the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, given these clear indicators of Santa Teresa's rising strategic and economic importance, my question is, why has CBP not prioritized the Santa Teresa port of entry for infrastructure improvements?
So currently, as a policy advisor, I don't have that level of detail, but if confirmed, as we discussed before, I'll commit to reevaluating the entire priority for infrastructure improvements and looking at it, because especially on the southwest border, in all the environments, the trade and travel has shifted and expanded dramatically in certain areas, and I know we have not kept up. So I commit to looking into that more if confirmed.
I appreciate that, sir. And Mr. Chairman, if Governor Abbott's going to continue to close ports of entry going into Texas, they go to New Mexico. So maybe we can find a nice way to be able to get this done and push New Mexico up that 5-year CIP plan. Thank you for the time. Appreciate your responses.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.